With Ramadan just days away, I was inspired to turn one of my favorite drinks into a dessert. This is a Faluda Trifle. It's got all the great flavors of Faluda, but we've leveled it up a little and made it into a great dessert. We're using store-bought butter cake for this, which makes life just that much easier. So like most trifles, it's just an assembly job, but you end up with a stunning show-stopping dessert. Start off by soaking a couple of spoons of chia seeds in some water. Let this soak for about 10 minutes or so and they will expand and become almost gel-like. While that's soaking, make the flavored milk. Rose syrup is the base for any good Faluda. It's what gives Faluda its distinct taste and that beautiful bright pink color. Pour about 400 ml of whole milk into a jug or bowl. Don't go for the skim milk. Whole milk just has a richness and creaminess to it that you need for any good dessert. And to this, add about 60 ml of rose syrup. Stir this together and watch that milk take on that beautiful bright pink color, and then set this aside. Cut up the store-bought butter cake into chunky cubes. I always take the top skin off from the cake. I don't think it's necessary, but it's a habit I have from icing cakes for all those years. Plus, it's the best part of the cake, and I love snacking on it while making the rest of the dessert. Now, if you can be bothered doing it, it's always nicer to make some butter cake at home. But since we're soaking this in that rose milk, it's okay if it's not a nice, moist homemade cake. Layer the bottom of your dessert dish with the cake chunks. I made some strawberry jelly last night and popped it in the fridge to set. For this, I just simply mix a jelly packet with some warm water according to the back of the packet and put it in the fridge to set. Getting the jelly out of the dish was a whole other story. Ideally, I would have liked this to come out nice and clean to be able to cut cubes of jelly, but this jelly just demolded in chunks, so I just cut it up into rough bite-sized chunks. Now that we have our cake cut up, the jelly and the chia seeds ready, and the rose milk, let's assemble this Faluda. Make sure the cake is evenly spread out in the bottom of your dish, and then give that rose syrup and milk mixture a quick stir, and then pour this on top of the cake, making sure to pour it all around so that all the cake gets soaked well in that milk. Press it down with a spoon just to ensure everything is soaked through. And then spoon in that chopped up jelly. It doesn't have to cover the entire surface of the dish. You just want to have pockets of cake and pockets of jelly so that there's a nice variety in each bite. By this time, the chia seeds should be done soaking in water. They should have more than doubled in size, plus you will have like a gel-like consistency. Give it a good stir to break it up and then strain out any of the excess water. You can even use basil seeds for this. At home, we call it kasa kasa. It gives a nice bite, especially when you're drinking Faluda. Strain out the excess water and then spoon the chia seeds on top of the cake and the jelly. Again, we're doing this in pockets so that you get different flavors and textures in each bite. And then pop this in the fridge to chill for at least an hour, longer if possible. While that's chilling, let's make the meringue topping for this. If you're drinking Faluda, it's usually topped with a generous scoop of vanilla ice cream. But I think a nice toasted marshmallowy meringue will really level this dessert up. Plus, it always gives that dessert a wow factor. Most people are afraid of making meringue because it looks and feels fancy. But follow these next few steps down to the T and you will have an easy homemade meringue with very little fuss. Start off by separating the egg whites. Do this carefully, very carefully, so that you don't break any of the egg yolks into the white. Make sure the bowls you're using are super clean with no oil residue or water. Once you have the egg whites separated out, then pour this into a bowl of your stand mixer. Add in a quarter teaspoon of cream of tartar and get this mixing on a medium speed until the egg whites start getting frothy. It's only once it starts getting frothy that you start adding in the sugar. You have to make sure the bowl and the whisk are both super clean. I usually go the extra step and wash it with boiling water and dry it with a duster and some kitchen towel as well to get rid of any oil. If there's any oil residue, your meringue won't whip up into that beautifully fluffy cloud. Once you wash and dry your bowl, let it cool down completely before you whip the meringue. Add in the sugar a spoonful at a time and let that whisk into the egg whites before adding more. Maybe wait 30 to 40 seconds between each addition. Once all the sugar has been added, let it whisk for a few more minutes on a medium-high speed. Stop mixing and just rub a little bit of that meringue between your fingers to see if the sugar granules have dissolved. If it feels a little grainy, then just keep whisking it again for a few more minutes. Just before you're done whisking, add in the vanilla bean paste or even some vanilla extract and let that mix through the meringue. And that's it. Your mixer did all the hard work while you just spooned in the sugar, and you have yourself a beautifully glossy, cloud-like meringue. And if you're confident about your meringue, you should be able to hold it over your head like this without worrying about getting covered in egg. If you're too scared to do this, another way to test it is to make sure that your meringue holds stiff peaks like this. Take the chilled trifle and spoon that homemade meringue over it. Use a spatula and spread it out to cover the entire top of the pudding. And then use the spatula to form little peaks and swirls in the meringue. And now comes my favorite part, torching the meringue. Do this tableside and your guests will go nuts by the theatrics, you guys. Just be careful when playing with fire. Use a blowtorch if you have it. If not, just pop it under the hot grill for a few minutes until the top is nice and toasty. Those swirls and peaks will look gorgeous once toasted. And then just serve this up and enjoy this seasonal Faluda Trifle. Those layers of cake soaked in that rose syrup taste just like a Faluda. That jelly and the chia seeds really tie it all together, and that toasted meringue, man, that really takes this dessert from being a Faluda to a next level crowd pleaser. Give this a try at home for this festive season. See you in the next video. Bye!